Oh Lord. You know, I went and I played the opening for Royal Sussex, not realizing not realizing that I didn't actually. Anyway, I'm going to do it now. Sorry about that. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Yeah, so I thought I was already in, and then I looked up in the corner. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not even on the air yet. So now I'm here. So that's enough for all that Who Shot John. But you know what? I may switch over to doing the lives with the YouTube. It's a lot less expensive than using. As a matter of fact, I don't think I have to pay anything extra. So maybe I'll do that. We'll see how it goes. So. But for now, we're going to stick with the StreamYard. Oh, that's not for today. This is today. There we go. All right, I'm going to say hi to a few people before we get started. And let me put me down in the corner right there. Cover up that M and Messy. Live viewer comments show up. Oh, okay. I didn't know that that did that. Okay. Hello to Carol Lunn. You were here first. There are no prizes, by the way. Lydia Washington, you were here second. Still no prizes. Nash Singby, no prizes. But you know what? You guys get all the street credit in the world for saying, I was here first. I was here second. I was here third. Okay. Lady E, hello. Black Queen. Mary Hiker, Lydia. Oh, I said that already. 1960, Mama Jane. Hello, Mama Jane. Angel A, Jeannie Hyde. Hello. Lady E, Sharon Chung. Welcome to Royal Sussex. Annie Bullard, Light Side of the Moon. Angel A, Dorothy Ross. Hugs to you too. And let's see who else is here. Linda Lala, Puzzle Dot, Lorna Williams, Elaine Parker. Hi. Okay. Well, looks like it's a bunch of repeats here. Hi, Angela Simmons, Hope Garden. Oh, there we go. Connie Balmer. Hey, Connie Balmer. Let's see. Anyway, let me just go ahead and scroll all the way down to the very last. But hello, everybody in between. I think I just saw Mo Shannon, Mary Hiker. Elaine Parker. Thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. And hello to Misty Blue, my fellow content creator. Thank you so much for being here. That is the ultimate compliment, is when another content creator comes to check out your channel. Always love that. Thank you so much for being here. And okay, there we go. All right, and Tara Lovett. Hello, I'm scrolling all the way down to the bottom here. Last, Carol Lund. Wow, you started? Okay, and now you're here. Oh, okay, there's Lydia Washington. Okay, let me get started then. Let me take this away, take that away. I got another channel open so I can see what you guys are seeing. And we're good. So I doubt if we're going to be on for a long time today, but we'll see how it goes. Unless somebody brings up skin tone or something like that, then we'll be here all day. That is always a very heavy topic. Okay. Let me see what you got here for me.
The score you can see behind me was devastated by Hurricane Maria back in 2017. And in fact...
Okay, I have to vet that later, Black Queen, because it's a little early to overthrow a government, and I'm not... I'm not sure what that is. So give me a little while so I can check that out myself, because it's a little early for me and I don't feel like overthrowing the government. So not to, not that I'm calling you militant or anything, but you know how sometimes you get in your feelings about something and you're ready to take a hostage. So I have to be careful. But I have to be careful. All right, because I don't know if somebody that messed with you today. So let me get back to that one. I don't have my dashiki. I don't have my leather coat, my camouflage pants. I didn't bring any of that stuff, so I'm not prepared for it. All right. So, okay, I got to stop. I got to concentrate. Okay. Where was I? Okay, so there we go. Well, Shania Twain is the latest. Shania Twain is the latest celebrity slash singer who does not want to show up at that coronation thing. So, okay. I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm not even gonna worry about it. Um, if it doesn't involve troop movements, then I support it. Okay. I stand corrected. My apologies to the collective group. All right. All right. Okay. All right, Black Queen. I get you. Black Queen says Baron is from Lambert, showing the Sussexes' impact on Dominica with the World Central Kitchen after Hurricane Maria. Trust me always, Baron. Of course I do. Of course I do. It's not like I of course I do. Connie Balmer, what are you doing here? Let me see. Connie Balmer from 17, 18 cheeky ladies in my household scream whenever you call my name. Really? They scream whenever I call your name? Well, that is so cool. Well, let's get it right this time. And thank you so much for the super chat. Connie Balmer. There we go. I'm glad to know I'm having an impact. Thank you so much. And to the lovely ladies with Connie Balmer, thank you so much for watching or listening to Royal Sussex. And please don't hold anything I've said against me. But thank you for being here, and happy Thursday to you all. Okay. All right. So matter of fact, let me take a look at that myself since Black Queen was being so thoughtful.
This
I
is
want to
Felix of
see.
World Central Kitchen reporting from Suffet Primary School in the Caribbean island of Dominica. The school you can see behind me was devastated by Hurricane Maria back in 2017. And in fact, it took a whole 2 years before pupils were allowed back on site. I'm now here with my colleague Jason to announce the completion of the first of our community relief kitchens. The kitchen will be used primarily to feed the needs of the 67 pupils here at the school, but we'll also be offering culinary training to the wider community when the school's not in session. We've been able to design the kitchen in such a way that it's resilient to future disasters and will be activated as a service kitchen to meet those needs if it arises. We really like to extend our thanks, firstly to ResDM, the local partner on the ground here, and also to Megan and Harry's Archwell Foundation, whose support have helped the project become possible.
Yes. Yes.
We
All
really like
right.
to extend our thanks, firstly to ResDM, the local partner on the ground here.
Oh, okay.
Also to Megan.
It repeats right there. Well, thank you so
Harry's
much,
Archwell
Black
Foundation.
Queen. That is very important, and I'm glad that
Thank
I.
you so much, Black Queen.
Okay. Why do I hear myself? There we go. All right. And Black Queen, if you have a link for World Central Kitchen that you would like to share, I can put that up there. So that way we can make sure that people know how to get to World Central Kitchen to make a donation if they would like. I don't know if they have something like that, but it would definitely be helpful. So, and we could put that up there. Thank you so much, Black Queen. And thank you for being so thoughtful. And thank you, Charles Lambert, for forwarding that information. I'm sorry, Lambert Charles. Sorry about that. I always do that. Thank you. All right. And again, thank you, Connie Balmer. And ladies, let's see here. Let me forward. I'm scrolling. I don't want to get myself so far behind again. Uh, well, I didn't see any thing put with it. It was just a link, so I wasn't sure. And oh, okay, Baron. I just love your podcast. I was watching last night, saying to myself, Baron is a smart individual. He knows his stuff. All right, thank you, Eva Johnson. And you sure it was this channel, right? I'm just so that we're clear because because I have my moments, but you know how it is. But yeah, just so we're clear that you were actually listening to Royal Sussex. Thank you so much. All right. All right. I'm all caught up. So let's move on. But yeah, so Shania Twain said, no deal. Isn't she the one that sings that song? How could I live without you? I want to know. How could I breathe without you? Is that Shania Twain or is that someone else? I don't know. I think that's Shania Twain. Yeah, good for Shania Twain, right? Without you, there'll be no sun in my sky. Okay, there we go. World Central Kitchen. Thank you so much. Lydia has a link for World Central Kitchen. So if you guys would like to go and donate to World Central Kitchen, there is a link on the screen right here, right here. As some of the old people say, right here. It's right here. Okay. World Central Kitchen link for donations. Wow, thank you for the information. Marsha Taylor says World Central Kitchen served 1,000 meals in my country last year, and I didn't know until yesterday. Wow, yeah, World Central Kitchen gets around, and you know, guys, World Central Kitchen when they had that hurricane, was it? I'm sorry, a tornado that tore up that it was a Amazon facility, and a bunch of the town got destroyed. And World Central Kitchen was there. They went to Uvalde, Texas, right? If I recall, they went to Uvalde, Texas, and served meals because when there is a disaster or a tragedy, it's not only that sometimes there's nothing to eat, is sometimes people in the field, people who are waiting for word, will forget to eat. And tragically, sometimes when people are trying to establish whether or not their loved one has survived, or they don't know where they have been taken to, and then, of course, their loved ones and extended family, there could be hundreds of people at a location. And, sometimes the restaurants aren't open or something. And the cool thing is that World Central Kitchen will partner with restaurants to get food available for people in times of crisis. I mean, feeding someone is one of the most noble things that anyone could do. And in a lot of cultures, as soon as you come through the door, the first thing they do is they start sliding food at you, whether you want it or not. So, very cool thing to do. All right. Thank you so much for that information. Okay. Well, let's see. Anastasia Isabella says the Royal Mafia has always turned down their noses on the Hollywood stars and other celebrities. So it's fair that the performers that they wanted be associated with turn down their invitations. Right. They need to try to bask in the glow of the stars. They want people to believe that the stars are rushing to see them, or people, the idea of going to Windsor Castle or the idea of going to the Buckingham Palace. These are places where a lot of people, including myself, I would love to have the access to just go in there and explore and look around and everything. It would be exciting, right? But as things have changed, I don't know how excited I would be. But that is how they get a lot of the celebrities like Lewis Hamilton. Well, his mom wanted to go to Buckingham Palace. And so, if Lewis Hamilton had any idea about turning down his trinket from the royal family, all of that was probably destroyed when his mother said, "But I want to go." And there's always that. There are family members who will even put pressure, or it's just one of those things that you can do for your mom that is like a way of saying thanks, because some people are royalists, and even if they're not royalists, they still want to go inside of Buckingham Palace. It's like going to the White House. Who wouldn't want that kind of access? And so, yeah, sometimes people make those decisions. And I'm pretty sure that on occasion there have been people, like John Oliver said, that his wife was like, "Oh, we got to go." And he said, "No, no, 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 no." He said, "The thing is, you don't understand. We have something called a class system, and I don't think we should play any part in that." So John Oliver said no, but his wife tried to put a little pressure on him to change his mind, but he was not thinking about it. So that, I'm sure that plays a big part in it. So having Shania Twain would probably appeal to a certain demographic. On this side of the pond, we have um, the MAGA people, and over there you have your Brexiteers, and they seem to, I guess, mingle in the same spaces on social media. So it would be a big coup for Charles to have that audience. But Shania Twain has transcended country music, and she has a broader audience now. And so perhaps she just doesn't want to alienate or isolate anyone, or maybe she just doesn't really care for them. There are some people that still remember the Revolutionary War and just don't really care for it all. So that could be a factor. But it's going to be interesting in the coming weeks to see how many American performers that they try to put on the stage over there to try to send this message that they are popular. For whatever reason, the royal family feels as though they really need to try to capture the imagination of middle America That popularity is important to them. I don't understand why, but on the global stage, they're losing prestige. And as we found out yesterday, that the tabloid media is losing a lot of its bite, so they don't really have a lot left. There's even reports that Russell Myers still hasn't found his other ear. And so Lorraine probably didn't come to work today because of Russell Myers. Okay, I'm not going to start with the Russell Myers. I'm just kidding. But oh man, why did I do that? I don't know. So let me see. I wonder who was leaking all these turndowns for Coronation Entertainment. Palace sources say yes to somebody. Well, I mean, they got Lionel Richie. They got Lionel Richie. That's big. I would say, as music goes, he's an A-lister, right? I mean, he's a legend. He's an institution. Lionel Richie? Come on. Let me see here. Okay. Yeah, let them use British stars. No one else seems to be interested. Oh God, I hate that Alicia Keys went over there that time. I really hate that. And Diana Ross. 2.5 months out, and they have not locked down entertainment for that. Coronation, not good. Okay. Yeah, that's true. I mean, they should have this, set to go. But what about Elton John? I'm sure Elton John is going to be there. Elton John is a bit of a royalist. We won't, be cross with him about that. He is a national treasure. Hey, Big Mama, he is a national treasure, so we cannot, we can't be sometiming with him. Oh, okay. Let me see here. Just got a PayPal. I won't say the name for your privacy, but thank you, DRG. Possibly another letter, but yeah, DRG. But thank you so much for that, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. By the way, you guys, I have a UPS coming, and so if I have to bust a move, it'll be because of that. But we'll see how it goes. Okay. Okay, Baron, the coronation playlist will be ABBA, Ellie Goulding. I don't know who that is. Kate on the piano. And possibly Diana Ross. And who is IGS? Oh, I'm just saying. Well, and Lionel Richie. But yeah, they should have the premier concert pianist in all of the British Isles, someone whose hand and eye coordination is only matched by her mouth askew and, of course, her hair extensions. And that would be the maestro herself, uh, Kate, who takes her inspiration from trying to outdo Megan any chance she gets. But that's who they need. They need the premier concert pianist, someone who can play the same three notes with more efficiency than anyone else I've ever known. The Phantom of Westminster Abbey, Kate. That's right, folks. The Phantom of Westminster Abbey, Kate. Okay, there we go. All right, so that would be helpful. Actually, I think that would be that would help the cause. They need to have Kate. Yeah, you know what? Because Kate was at that, what would they call it? The Royal Carol, right? And she sat there pretending like nothing was happening. This is what we were supposed to believe. And then the way they edited the Royal Carol, we were supposed to believe that Kate said, what? 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 Maybe. What are you saying, Your Highness? maybe I can play the piano. So that's what we were supposed to believe, is that Kate muttered, I can play the piano. But the truth is, they actually recorded that piano sequence on another day. She put on the same dress, coat dress, the same hair extensions, the same bizarre smile. And then she sat at that piano accompanied by someone that looked like, I don't know, a hobo. And that's when she and the hobo did some song, and she played some little ditty on the piano. Anyway, it was also contrived and made up and superficial. And of course, because she's the English Rose, she didn't have to put a lot of effort forth. That is, any little thing she did was praised and celebrated and exalted. That's Kate. Kate's the quintessential English Rose, when the real Rose ain't around, of course. Let me see. World Central Kitchen set up in Ukraine and outer countries. Yes, they that is so true. Let me see here. I'm getting behind in my comments again. All right. I think we're good. Oh, I went too far back. Why did I go back that far? Okay. Baron, I don't think that watching how they treated Harry and Meghan at Betty's funeral should the world, showed the world, that is, everything, especially to celebrities. The celebrity world is pretty small. Yeah, that's something to consider. And remember, they want us to believe that everybody in Hollywood is seething with hostility. They are frothing at the mouth with hostility because Harry and Meghan made a docuseries and Harry wrote that book. And of course, the Sussexes are not as popular as they think they are. And what is that they say? That the Cambridges, or whatever they are now, are more popular than the Sussexes, or more anyway, those stupid headlines, that's what we're supposed to think. So okay, you keep thinking we think that. LDSW says Royal Family not only have the entertainers lined up, but also have not gathered enough bell ringers. Yeah, they need 8,000 bell ringers. Now, if there was only, I could think of one that puts me in mind of Quasimodo. I could think of one that kind of puts me in mind of Quasimodo. There you go. Um, in ancient times, you would find this wandering around the corridors of Notre Dame in ancient times. And I'm trying to think, is there some other bizarre person that could pass as Quasimodo? Oh, there we go. You don't tell me when to ring the bell. I can ring the bell and this is not Hollywood. I'm not a Hollywood actress. Nobody tells me when to ring a bell. And then, of course, there's someone who will make up things and will say that they know how to ring a bell, even if they've never seen one or never been in a church. So, yeah, I could think of a few rather bizarre looking people who could pass for Quasimodo that could go and ring that bell. So, and then, of course, okay, I got to stop. I'm in a fun mood today, but I got to stop. I got stuff to do. Okay, there we go. Let me see here. Well, let's go. Let me get rid of Easter Island here, and then we'll go on to the next thing. All right, be gone. There we go. Okay. No, Archie's piano is a bit far away from me right now. Right, right. I mean, that would be very sweet. But I'm not sure we want them over there. It's one thing if the parents go, but I'm not sure we want them over there. But it because it would be his birthday, then yeah, yeah. Let the royal rodents ring the bell. Let the royal rodents ring the bell. Okay, let's go on to something else. Now, you guys, I could not do it justice. The prosecutor, Petal from Facts and Two Cents, she really explained the case against, um, well, today she spoke about, oh gosh, I'm going to mess up the names, but she spoke about Harry's book and about if you guys recall, Prince Harry, the army taught me to be accountable. I don't view my actions with satisfaction or shame. Well, it was about Harry. I almost hate to say it, so that's why I'm. It was about the part of the book where Harry mentioned that he, you know, killed a few people in war. And, oh, it's hard for me to say that because I have been so um well, we know what happened. It was okay. I can't dance around it. Harry mentioned how many people that he have on record as having killed in battle in war in Afghanistan. And so, in order to disparage Harry as much as possible, they decided that they would use that against him. And when I say they, of course, I am speaking of the royal rodents, the tabloid press. The royal rodents wanted to use that against him. So, Petal had a few things to say about it. So, I am going to put her link up there where you can go over to Facts and Two Cents. And while you're there, you may take the time to subscribe. I think you should, and like and share because Petal is a very powerful voice in all of Squadedom. And she really knows how to prosecute a case. Sometimes when Petal is like, you know, giving them hell, I start thinking, what? I'm thinking I did something wrong. I have to remind myself she's talking about somebody else because it's just the very powerful way she makes the case. So, but anyway, I am going to do this though. I'll let you have a little sample of it because I don't think that Petal has the actual audio on hers, but I'm going to share the audio. Hopefully, it works out. Oh, thank you, Church Nelly. I'll do that right now since you put it up there. Okay, there we go. Did I do it? Okay, yeah, that was successful. Thank you so much, Church Nelly. All right, so the prosecutor waged a very vigorous case about this, explaining what Harry said, and also interpreting how they have tried to, um, you know, deceive us into believing that it was something else. So Nick Ferrari was baiting Ben Wallace into taking a swipe at Prince Harry. Wallace tries to pivot and fumbles the attempt. His response sounds a bit nonsensical, as if he has to read the book, which of course he probably didn't. So, but in context, Ferrari comes off as more of an behind than either Harry or Wallace. So anyway, let me do the audio for you and you could hear it for yourself. And for those of you that was on with Petal earlier, this will be a nice little bridge for you so that you can hear parts of the actual audio. So here we go.
Prince Harry recently attracted widespread criticism for writing in his autobiography about killing the Taliban while serving in Afghanistan. Let me just briefly read you that extract from the book. This is Prince Harry's, of course. Most soldiers can't tell you precisely how much death is on their ledger. In battle conditions, there's often a great deal of indiscriminate firing. But in the age of Apaches and laptops, everything I did in the course of 2 combat tours was recorded, time-stamped. I could always say precisely how many combatants I'd killed. and I felt it vital never to shy away from that number. Among the many things I learned in the army, accountability was near the top of the list. So my number? 25. It wasn't a number that gave me any satisfaction, but neither was it a number that made me feel ashamed. So I asked Ben Wallace how appropriate was it for the Prince to go public with such sensitive information.
I think every veteran makes their own choices about what they want to talk about in their lives.
Respectfully, Secretary, that doesn't answer the question.
Well, because I think it's an individual choice.
All right, let's try it. How many people? How many members of the enemy did you kill?
I'm not going to go into these sort of things. I mean, I don't think it's.
Oh Lord, it. Sorry about that. It did that thing again. It does that sometimes. Let me try to.
As Harry recently attracted white.
Veteran makes their own choices about what they want to talk about in their lives.
Respectfully, Secretary, that doesn't answer the question.
Well, because I think it's an individual choice.
All right, let's try it. How many people? How many members of the enemy did you kill?
I'm not going to go into these sort of things. I mean, I don't think it's mainly because the armed forces is not about a tally.
But I thought there was a sort of unwritten code that you never say. It's not something you talk about.
But I think you'd have to ask Prince Harry his choices he make. I frankly think boasting about tallies or talking about tallies does two things. It distorts the fact that the army is a team game. It's a team enterprise. For an infanteer to go over the top, that person is supported by hundreds of people behind them, whether they're in headquarters in Britain, whether they're in the Royal Logistic Corps who help them get there. It's a team, and so it's not about who can shoot the most or who doesn't shoot the most. And I think if that's just my personal view, if you start talking about who did what we're actually doing is letting down all those other people, because you're not a better person because you did and they didn't.
Okay, so not reading the book, it totally takes what Harry says out of context. Harry was given a honest commentary about the effects of war, how it affected him, the type of morale that there was around him, the camaraderie. There was so many layers to it. And if you ask me, it could have been an entire book by itself, Harry's experience in Afghanistan. So this guy, in a very clumsy way, began to make it seem as though Harry was being very selfish, or as though he was boasting or bragging about things. But Harry is being very human and letting you know that these are things that can affect you after the fact, that this is something that I have mulled over, that I have to consider. I mean, he's showing proper respect to the enemy combatants by even considering it. If he had just walked away from Afghanistan and never said anything about it, or never even thought about it, then we would have to wonder exactly what is Harry made of? What is any soldier made of? But the truth is, war is hell. And as I actually did the audio spare, and as I'm listening to it, when I heard the thing about the red fox, this red fox, that they were looking for some red fox, I was so like pulled into the spare that I didn't imagine that they were talking about Harry. But I don't want to spoil the book for you. But it's a very honest account of things in Harry's own words, as he understood it, as he lived it and experienced it. And this attempt by the British tabloid media to try to take that away from him, or to make him appear arrogant or selfish or thoughtless, there is nothing that Harry wrote in that book that you could not find a very similar story someplace else written by another soldier, like, for instance, the one who claims that he was the one who took out Osama bin Laden He's been on Fox News and all over the place, and yet he's regaled as a hero. And there's a lot of people who aren't even sure that he was exactly the one, seeing that there was a whole team of people. I was shocked that he ever came forward in the first place. But, you know, maybe some of us have known older people that have been to Vietnam or been to Korea or even World War II, and they just don't talk about it. And that is their prerogative. But you can't take Harry's voice away from him. You cannot prevent him from telling his story. This information is available, and so he shared it. Um, he spoke about, matter of fact, he spoke about it years ago, but that was before he married a black woman, an American woman, a woman of color, a mixed race woman, whatever you want to say. That was before that. That was before that. And as I keep saying, every time something black is involved, or somebody black, should I say, is involved, then everything changes. Everything takes on a whole new, pardon my words, but complexion, because somebody's black involved. And so, in order to target Meghan, they have been targeting Harry. There would not have been any of this hostility toward Harry but for the fact he fell in love and married this American woman who was the most dynamic person he ever met in his life. And because of that, he has to be punished. And they will hurt a lot of people to try to get to her. And so, by going through him to target her, as we can see with so many cases where they try to make us believe that Harry doesn't have his own thoughts, Harry doesn't do anything on his own. And time again, we see Harry out and about and away from home and doing things by himself, as he's always done before he married. So there was no context or any way to say that makes sense that Harry needed someone to tell him what to do, or Harry has someone bossing him around. And I hate this because it takes away from the fact that Harry is standing up like a man, supporting his family, showing leadership in his community and beyond. And still, they try to reduce him to things that happened when he was either a young man or younger man, or even in his childhood. They try to reduce him to some of the worst moments or even more questionable moments of his life, then accept the fact that he is very well rounded. He is a learned person. He has more sense than he knows what to do with. But yet it's important for them to try to tear him down so they can take that very mediocre, senseless brother of his and elevate and exalt him in some kind of way that he just simply does not deserve. So with that, all right, that was Nick Ferrari baiting Ben Wallace. So then the other part of that is Prince Harry learned detachment in combat is problematic but necessary to do the job. You can't kill people if you think of them as people. So Colonel Richard Kemp, if you're in a fight, you got to kill as many of them as you can. Afterwards, you should treat them as human beings. Exactly. So Harry is showing his humanity by acknowledging their humanity. But these are things that happen away from the field of battle. But while you're in the throes of war, you have to do what is required, within the Geneva Convention and whatever other treaties, but you have to do what's required. I mean, the whole point is to win, is to be successful. So let me get that other sound bite for you. Oh boy, I hate that we're even having this conversation again, but they won't let it go, and they okay, let me do the sound bite. Oh man.
Colonel Richard Kemp, who's a former British Army commander in Afghanistan and chaired the government's emergency Cobra committee. Good to have you on, Colonel. So who's right, Prince Harry and his tally, or the Defence Secretary talking about a team game? Good morning.
Good morning. I think I do tend to agree with the Defence Secretary that it's a personal choice what you talk about, what you say about, you know, what you did in battle. And I don't personally have a huge problem with Prince Harry giving a number of the people that he says he killed. Obviously, there are implications of that in terms of his personal security. But the issue I had with that whole part of his book was the way he described the fact that British Army soldiers are trained to see their enemy as less than human, which I think is entirely wrong. It's not the way that they're trained, and you know, that also I think, you know, risks his own personal security talking about enemy in that way. Obviously, he's under security threat anyway, but I do think it's a misrepresentation of the British Army. It sells books, I'm sure, no doubt. The same with his kill count. That will be selling books, of course.
Yes, this was a suggestion of chess pieces. Is that right, Colonel?
Yeah, he said that, you know, I think he actually wrote, we're trained to see them as not human, and we see them as chess pieces to be knocked off the board. And the problem with that approach, and it is not the British Army's approach, the problem is you have to view your enemy as human beings, because you have to treat them like human beings. Obviously, you know, if you're in a fight, you've got to kill as many of them as you can. But if they're wounded or if they're prisoners, then they have to be treated as human beings in accordance with the Geneva Convention. Or what he was saying would suggest otherwise.
Well, as you can see, in some way, both of them tend to contradict themselves a bit. You got to kill as many of them as you can. Well, if you if you have that type of mentality when you're on the battlefield, I mean, the whole thing is Harry's book was taken out of context. Likely neither one of them have read the book, or if they have read the book, they don't want to acknowledge that they've read the book. But I suspect that perhaps Kemp has read the book, but the other one, Wallace, probably has not, or anything else for that matter. But yeah, I'm gonna just assume that he probably hasn't read the book. But either way, it is a chance for people within the British military to target one of their own in the worst possible way without, you know, physically harming someone. And that is to take their words out of context, make them seem selfish, arrogant, and thoughtless about their experience in war. And coming from a British officer, a British officer with the record that the British Empire has had around the globe, to hear any officer of the British military being so humane when it comes to an enemy combatant is astounding, if not to say even shocking. But okay, I get it. This is a exercise of creating a hostile environment for Harry and to try to humanize themselves. But all right, let me look at a couple of your comments. Black Queen says they were praising Harry for killing Taliban's a few years earlier. Now Harry is boasting. Are they delusional? Well, you know, they are carrying the party line, if you will. They are trying to appease people within the government. And let's not forget that King Charles III is their commander in chief. But Harry has been in very successful with his Invictus Games. And you have all of those members of the royal household and in uniform. Okay, you got Princess Anne in uniform. You got Edwina in uniform. You have all of them in uniform. They all marched in uniform at the Queen's funeral. They wanted to do it at Philip's funeral. They're going to be in uniform most likely for the coronation. So you have all of these people, and the only one who's technically been in a real war is this lump of stuff. He's the only one in the Falkland Island War. It okay. Technically, he's been in war, but aside from that, none of the rest of them in that family has ever actually been in a situation where their lives were at risk, except for Harry. You only have those two, and Harry, the one who was nearly kidnapped by the Taliban, maybe on more than one occasion, I would imagine. But there were people who literally sacrificed their lives trying to break into the compound to get to Harry. So, given that, Harry has been the one who has really faced a life and death situation. He's the one who has risked his life. Not only how many tours of duty was it? Two? Not once, but twice he risked his life by signing up and going to the battlefield, which is more than what you could say about the rest of them. But yet they would rather, instead of having this as something to celebrate within their family as an accomplishment, they would prefer to uh, try to diminish Harry, try to disparage him, and hurt him as much as possible with all this stuff about the uniforms and he's no longer a member of the firm. They would rather try to other him than to use it as a reason to celebrate or even give them consent as a family to be in uniform in the first place. But I guess that's not the point. You have Anne would be too old to be in the military. Anne is too old to be in the military, but yet she puts on a uniform as though she's actually served. She wasn't even a mechanic like her mother, but yet she puts on a uniform like she serves. And pretty soon, isn't Kate supposed to be the patron of the household cavalry or something like that? Is she going to start showing up in uniform? Oh my God, I can't wait to see that. Rohini says, according to this fool, Harry should have shared the death count with the entire team. How stupid. Exactly. Everybody knows that the military is a team effort, but Harry's feelings about his role in service to his country are his own. Harry explained his feelings about it. He wasn't trying to deny or try to pretend like he's Rambo or something, where he's out there in the field of battle by himself. That's not the point. The point is, he was in service. He, was willing to sacrifice his life. He took a few lives, and he wants to have an honest dialogue about it. So anybody who would consider that life, or anybody who just wants to know, what did you go through? What was your experience? He's sharing that. And instead of applauding him for his honesty, or instead of supporting him for telling his truth, they would rather try to tear him down just for the sake of it. You wouldn't even believe that he was born a prince by the way he's been treated. Taskmax says no one should have an opinion about a book they have never read. Amen. It is ignorance because it is due to a lack of knowledge, and they're just cruel people. I don't doubt that the ones that oh man, I was hoping that we had heard the last of this, but um, apparently not. Okay. I know, Baron, the red part about the red fox and Tahiri said it was him. Yes, exactly. But Lottie, I didn't know if everybody, I didn't know if everybody else knew it. But yeah, that's exactly what I was speaking of. But and you know, when I was listening to him, I didn't get it when he first said it. I'm like, oh, oh my God. You know, I've all of a sudden I was scared. I was like, I was terrified as though he was actually still there. And it was like my heart was like, get out of there. Oh man, if there is film rights for that book, and I don't doubt there will be, it is going to make a very, very good movie or series. And I want to, speaking of series, you guys, um, I was just thinking about something. So Harry is, he has a contract with Netflix, right? The Sussexes have a contract with Netflix. Um, and also Netflix produces The Crown. Now, if you guys recall, Harry was almost absent as a character from the last season of The Crown. And so maybe they decided that he should be absent from most of the last season of Crown because there was a book coming down the pike. I'm just saying. Oh, I shouldn't say that because next thing you know, it'll be in the fail. Oh Lord. But anyway, I wonder if that's why there was the absence of Harry in the not the spare, but in the Crown, because maybe somewhere down the pike there's going to be a series or a movie or something like that. And so if there is, because I just said that I'm going to want my production rights, I want my cut, but I'm sure it's nothing that somebody else hasn't thought of already. But I was just wondering about that. What if, because they kind of disappeared him from the storyline, just like they did in, remember Mommy Dearest, how her brother wasn't in most of the movie. And then by the time you see him, it's just like, oh, I forgot about him. So, anyway, I'm just saying, maybe there's a possibility because somebody's going to get the movie rights, right? Right. All right. Thank you so much, Lottie, for your comment. Let me see. Sonia Johnson says, Baron, it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's war. There was a bounty on Harry's head brought about by the media. Yes, that's a good point. Releasing his location while in battle. He did not, I'm sorry, he did not uh, go to a garden party. He went to war. Exactly. Thank you so much, Sonia Johnson. These royal rats have not defended a piece of bread, let alone their country should not judge those that stood up when they wouldn't. And Rhonda Bryant, let's also remember this. Right now, there are shortages of certain things in Britain. There has been a misinformation campaign that led to those shortages in Britain because those same kind of people that are so anti Sussex are the same kind of people that were pro Brexit. And so, it's the whole Rupert Murdoch, Lord Nappyhead, and all the rest of them. Their kind are the ones, and I really do believe that these oligarchs that are there are part of the problem. I do believe that there's a lot of shady money and shady deals in Britain, and the idea is to enrich themselves and at the same time, just like some of those same characters messed around with our 2016 election, they seem to have a vested interest in having the Tories in power. They want a Republican president in power and they want a Tory prime minister in power. And if this was some attempt by another government to tear down Western civilization, they're doing a really good job of it. They are doing a very, very good job of it. And this is not paranoia, this is true. If you guys remember, before the midterm elections, the price of gasoline went up, and everybody accused Biden of trying to make a deal with Saudi Arabia, which I do believe he did try to make a deal. And the way I know that is because the day after the election, all of a sudden the fuel prices went down in the United States. It went up to hurt the Democrats, and it went down to to keep their money flowing. Because when the price went up, when the price of fuel usually does not go up in the winter months. Everybody knows that. But if you're trying to, excuse me, hurt the party that is in power, then you jack the prices up for no good reason. So both of those things are true. Both of those are true. Biden did try to make a deal, and the Saudis and whomever else was trying to help the Republicans. So people are messing with our governments. People are fooling around with democracy. And if we're not careful, they're going to win. They are going to win. We have to be vigilant. Do not aid and abet the enemy. Let me see. I bet Charles regrets every bad decision he ever made. Let me see. He's got to live with this, and ain't nothing he could possibly do to take back what he has done or redeem himself. He forever the worst king in history. In our lifetime, for sure. In our lifetime, for sure. So that's a certainty. Oh my goodness, what is this? Okay, United States Postal Service. Is this the one I'm looking for? Oh, so it's not UPS, it's United States Postal Service. Where are they? Well, it's here. Well, not here, but close. All right, sorry about that, you guys. Just got an alert, and let's see, war change, regardless of whether you are actually the fighter come or people to stand by, it changes years. It changes years. Okay, thank you so much, Michael Miller. All right, let me just go to the absolute last comment. All right. Wow, a lot of comments. Okay. So here you have, this is what they should focus on. Focus on some food shortages, right? Focus on the labor shortage, because there's a shortage of labor. And also, British Army no longer top-level fighting force, warns U.S. General. Peto also discussed this, and let me tell you, Peto laid into them like you wouldn't believe. Top-ranking U.S. military official has reportedly told UK Defense Secretary Ben Wallace, in private, that the British Army is no longer considered a top-level fighting force. The supposedly classified information was reported by the British news organization Sky News, citing several defense sources. According to the report, one of the sources claimed that the British Army will be unable to fully protect this country and allies for a decade, meaning that it would take a decade for them to catch up to be a viable fighting force capable of defending or even retaliating, for that matter, should things in Ukraine spill over, or should their aid to Ukraine create a hostile situation, let's say with Russia. British leader Rishi Sunak also reportedly risked failing in his role as wartime prime minister amid increasing security threats posed by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The sources suggest that the UK government must take urgent action and invest in more weapons and military equipment to address the decline in its war fighting capability. Didn't they have, isn't there a ship called Big Lizzie? Didn't they spend billions of dollars on an aircraft carrier and it spent more time in dry dock than it's actually spent at sea? Didn't I hear something about that? That they have this big aircraft carrier that it has proved rather, how do I say it, ineffective, which is not unusual for something like that, but that is supposed to be their, go-to weapon of war at sea. And I believe it was out of commission more than it was actually navigating the oceans. Citing the same defense source, Sky News outlined the scale of the problem being faced by UK armed forces. Here we go. It said that the military would run out of ammunition just after a few days in case of an armed conflict. Let's try that one more time. It said that the military would run out of ammunition just after a few days in case of an armed conflict. The country also reportedly lacks the ability to defend its airspace given an increasing power and capabilities of today's missiles and drones. Additionally, full replacements for aging British tanks and armored vehicles are not due for years, thereby affecting its modernization drive. Sources claim that it would take 5 to 10 years for the British Army to be able to field a warfighting division with more than 30,000 troops and backed by high-powered tanks, artillery system, and helicopters. Yeah, so that's the state of things. Now, guys, the United States, I'm not celebrating that information. The United States spends more money on its military than the next few largest economies combined, or at least at one time we did. And even now, we probably are spending more than anyone else. We have, correct me if I'm wrong, over 400, is it over 400? Over 300 military bases overseas. We have more of a presence of military bases overseas than anybody else. And so if you were an outside observer, one would say, wow, that sounds like an empire. So I'm not, totally removing the United States from any criticism where war is concerned, and especially when it comes to an arm race or being, overly saturated with military hardware. As you know, this country, for instance, the war in Iraq, I I was totally against that war. When the war started, I didn't sleep for a few nights because the whole idea of shock and awe was so outrageous to me that I found myself very frustrated and very oh man, I have to say that it was tough, and I did not take to the streets. Most Americans didn't, but most people really just want lower fuel prices and don't really care who gets hurt in the process. So, it war is hell. It's a terrible thing, and unfortunately, people are so detached from death. People are so detached from war that we don't really consider how it affects other people in the world. But it is devastating, and people are so removed from it that that we don't have universal enlistment here in the United States. I wish we did, because at least some of these young people that like to shoot guns all the time, at least they would know how to respect a firearm, but we don't. And I think that that's a shame. If it was up to me, we would have universal enlistment just to make people aware of what's involved and so that the risk would be shared by rich and poor, but we don't, and so that's unfortunate. All right, so take a look at a couple of your comments, and then we'll move on. CR says, as we should, every country needs a strong national defense. First and foremost, example, the fall of Afghanistan, the U.S. helped train other countries. Yeah, that was inevitable. I agree with leaving Afghanistan. I hate the way it was done, but whether it was done today, tomorrow, or 10 years ago, it was going to happen just the way it happened. I'm going to tell you one thing that I noticed about. Do you guys remember the war in Bosnia, Herzegovina, and what was the other country over there? When the Soviet Union was in power, there was okay, with communism, there is no religion. And so Christians and Muslims lived together, mostly in harmony, worked together, and even married within each other's families. But when the Iron Curtain fell and when the Soviets left those Eastern Bloc nations, isn't it interesting how all of the conflicts from the past arose again, and they tried to commit a genocide against the Muslims? Well, they did commit a genocide against the Christians, against the Muslims in Bosnia, and even though they hadn't been in conflict with one another like that for what, 70 years or more, it all came rushing back, which is why, if history is any indication, if we learn anything from history, as soon as the United States left, Afghanistan was going to collapse back into its old ways again. It was inevitable. It wouldn't matter if you stayed another 5 years. It wouldn't matter how much you trained people. I'm telling you, it's happened before with Bosnia. That whole thing was about religion, of course, Muslim versus Christian. But the point is, it was a conflict that had been going on long before the Soviet Union, long before the end of the Soviet Union. And, it took a lot to bring peace back to that area. But, the thing is, you have to have the UN troops and all that kind of stuff. So anybody who's like thinking that was a terrible thing that happened with Afghanistan, I'm just telling you, it was going to happen regardless, unless the United States wanted to spend billions of more dollars to keep the peace. It was going to happen. They would never have peace on their own without the US or some other outside force. The British occupied Afghanistan and they left in defeat. The Russians occupied Afghanistan and they left in defeat. And the Americans occupied Afghanistan. And let's face it, the objective was met, but essentially it was a defeat because they went back to their old ways. Nobody wins Afghanistan. It's where empires go to die. And it's been like that since ancient times. Oh, there we go. It was Serbia part of the conflict. Yeah, that sounds right. It was Serbia, Bosnia, Herzegovina, all that was part of that conflict. And you cannot build a nation. You cannot make people accept democracy. They either will or they won't. But you spending all your money, spending your whole treasure, spending our tax dollars is not going to make that happen. Black Queen says, just saw a post from Duchess of Success, Sky News. Government ministers suggest people struggling to afford meals could work more hours. Let the peasants eat cake while their king splurge on his coronation. They really want the monarchy gone, don't they? They really want the British monarchy to collapse. That is what they're asking for. They they want the British monarchy to be as unsuccessful as possible. They want the people to turn against them, and you know, yeah, that let the meat cake. Let's see how that works out. You saw that? Oh, so Anne's not coming on today. I just noticed that scheduled for the 26th. I thought she was scheduled for today. All right. Let me see. I want to see the community tab. Is that where you saw it? Government minister suggests people struggling to afford meals. Wow, that was today. Could work more hours. Wow. Wow. That's ooh, okay. That reminds me of those. I had the thing where they were saying that you should eat bread even if it's moldy. That was one of the suggestions for the peasant class from the Toffs, was that they could eat bread. Just a little mold doesn't mean that you shouldn't eat the bread. That's what they were saying. But thank you so much. That was very interesting, Black Queen. Um, Shelly L says, "Hi, Baron. The U.S. has approximately 7 times the amount of weapons than all other countries combined." Wow. Well, I knew we spent a lot, but I've never heard that one before. But 7 times the amount of weapons? Huh. Well, like I said, to an outside observer, if you were a Martian beaming down from space, they would say, "Y'all an empire." Thank you, Shelly L, for that information. But it's true. It's true. Only an empire would have as many weapons as the United States. That war in Iraq, most Americans do not know that over 1 million people died in Iraq during that war. Most people don't know or would not accept that to be true, but it is true. Over 1 million people died because of that unnecessary war in Iraq. And unfortunately, the Christian population in Iraq was devastated, decimated, because the United States invaded Iraq. Um, Saddam Hussein, as much as they love to say what an awful person that he was, Saddam Hussein was like the only protection that most Christians had in Iraq. And also, Saddam Hussein, kept the trains running on time. They had a higher educational level than any other country in the region. And also, they have had a higher standard of living. But that is not what the American media would ever tell us. We have to believe that they were just out to get the United States. That was not true. Some of the nicest people you'll ever meet in this world are in both Iran and Iraq. They love the idea of the American dream, and they would welcome you into their homes. One of the best, actually the best, Rick Steves. I love Rick Steves with his travel. If you ever get a chance to watch Rick Steve in Iran, it's the only travel show of his that is an hour long. And that is the best of the best of the best. And you'll get a chance to see a different side of Iran compared to our government propaganda. Thank you so much, Shelly Ellen. Thank you for the super chat. Okay. Let me see. Cookies and Cream says, tampon reign as Charles has been one hot mess. He looks so weak, racist, pathetic, petty, and vindictive, going after the Sussexes. What kind of father and leader constantly attacks his own son and family? Charles III, or Charles the Third, as they say. He is weak. He is weak, and I want to say that his reign started. You want to know when his reign started, as far as I'm concerned? It started that day that he coerced his mama into saying that his side piece should be referred to as the Queen Consort. This was the day, Accession Day, 2022. That is when his reign started. I think that was when he was at the peak of his input, in terms of his pre-reign. Shelley L says just one of our aircraft carriers can destroy a whole country. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that. They, as Papa Bush said that time when they thought that they were going to use those chemical weapons in Israel that time, Papa Bush said, if you use chemical weapons, we got a few little special surprises for you right off the coast of right off the coast of Iraq. And I think I know what he was talking about. So yeah, that was enough to convince them not to use anything more lethal. But of course, Shelley L, we found out that Iraq probably didn't even have those kind of weapons in the first place. They didn't have any chemical weapons. Everything that the United States had given them or sold to them to fight the Iranians, all of that stuff had degraded and was useless by the time the United States invaded in that unnecessary war in Iraq. But thank you so much, Shelley L, for that information. And thank you for the super chat as always. Males in my family, beginning with my great-great-grandfather, have served the military since the United States Civil War. Great-grandfather served the Union in the 4th United States Colored Cavalry of Louisiana. Oh, very cool. Now, that is something to be super, super proud of. Thank you so much for that information. Okay. Let us move on then. We got some other topics. This was very interesting. Baron, as you know, there are many of those in the returning veterans. Many can't process the numbers. Harry gave his number and explained how he handled the pressure. It was a very sobering and very serious conversation. And it's unfortunate that the British tabloid media, which is the worst media on the face of the earth, as far as I'm concerned. And the reason why I say it's the worst is not that there aren't, and there's only a handful of countries that are worse, but let's take a look at the numbers. In terms of outreach, the British tabloid media has everyone else faded. Let's face it, the tabloid media, the Daily Mail is the most widely read English language, news in the world. The most widely read. They're everywhere. But if you look at the trustworthiness, the United Kingdom scores just above Bulgaria, North Macedonia, Serbia, Cyprus, and Bosnia-Herzegovina. And in terms of, let me see, tend not to trust, the only ones that are 65% is Bosnia and Britain. Everybody else falls below 65%. Everybody else falls below 65%. So that is quite an accomplishment for a nation that is the very height of civility in the Western civilization. It's a shame that just a handful of people can make so many other people look bad. It's a real shame. It's unfortunate because there are so many great things to offer the world from Britain. And so much of it has been tainted by the likes of Lord Nappyhead and what's his name? Murdoch. So much of it has been tainted. So the everyday hardworking people, they're not the enemy. The British people are not the enemy. It is the aristocracy. It is the very right-leaning, right-sympathizing government. And of course, the royal family that gives them all the cover in the world are also to blame. The royal family has created a great deal of taint because of their association with the royal rota. All of this is so unnecessary and so avoidable, but yet it is a thing because of these connections between the government, the rota, and the royal family. An unholy alliance. That makes the whole country look bad. That's the reason why the Eurostar is not at capacity, because it's starting to look like a failed state. You took a perfectly good, functioning, well-oiled machine, and you're making it look like a failed state. And people have noticed. Shelly L says, has anyone else heard about Russian nuclear sub parked 100 miles off our east and west coast? I'm thinking the Trumps are getting a collection of it. Oh, so are you saying that the Trumps are defaulting on all those Russian loans that they have? I did not know that. I mean, I'm not surprised, of course, but wow. But yeah, and most likely it's not us they're after. They probably want to. They probably want Trump to pay his premium, his last installment. Maybe the check bounced in the mail. But no, I didn't hear about that. But thank you so much for the super chat. Okay, so let's get back over here, and then I'm going to move on. What this week's fictitious Harry and Meghan gossip reveals about the royal family wider problems. Well, what it reveals is they're so fixated on Harry and Meghan that no one would even suspect that there was anyone traveling abroad from the royal family, because they are so busy trying to tell you what Meghan is thinking or feeling or about to do, even though she has, gone under the radar for a while. That seems to bother them. So the South Park was the thread that they decided to pull upon. The South Park with the privacy tour. The South Park is going to get sued. Meghan is upset about South Park. The only thing is, anybody with any sense knows that Harry and Meghan are living in Montecito, where there are no lakes. There are no leaks in Montecito. So if there are no leaks in Montecito, where in heavens are they getting this information? Well, I could tell you one for sure that just kind of makes things up all the time. That Easter Island head, she doesn't have to know it for sure. She just have to think about it, and next thing you know, it must be true. It's got to be true. It is true. That's how it works. But I don't want to single her out, because there's quite a few people within the press over there that do, will have done, and continue to do the exact same thing. They just make up stuff. It doesn't have to be true, but you just have to throw. And I love this, because Harry said in the docuseries, Harry and Meghan, he was saying how they just make up stuff and what it takes to be a royal expert. And they are proving without a shadow of a doubt that Harry is absolutely correct. They have proven over and over again that it doesn't take a genius to be a royal expert. You don't have to be right to be a royal expert. You just have to be. All you have to do is just say so, and it must be true. So we all know she makes up stuff. And of course, she turned a 15-minute interview into a life story, much to our surprise. Not to hers, though. I'm pretty sure she had that in mind from the beginning. But yeah, they're so fascinated with Harry and Meghan. They want to try to make sure that they can get the clicks from Harry and Meghan. And in spite of that, as we learned yesterday, the tabloid media is in decline. Even the free papers are in decline. If you take a look at these numbers, well, let's just do the Daily Mail. 812,106 in circulation. Well, that declined. And of course, that is the average in circulation for a year. Well, that declined to an average of 797,704 on average for the year. So they're in a decline. What about the Express? 176? And here it says the Express is 179. So yeah, they're in a decline. All of them are declining. The legacy media is all but dead. It just hasn't been called yet. They haven't pronounced it dead yet, but they're getting there. They are getting there. And it's their own fault. They have only themselves to blame, and not just about Harry and Meghan, but there are so many bodies lying in the streets of people who have been wronged, mistreated by the tabloid media. Baron, do you think that many of the entertainers have read Harry's book and that's why they are turning down invites to perform for the coronation? I would say quite a few of them have probably read the book or listened to the audio, but in general, I'm going to say that whatever the tabloids want us to believe, people started with the Queen's funeral. When the Queen died, people started talking more about reparations, about colonization. People were speaking about the crown jewels. And of course, there's a lot of people who just know that the Sussexes have been wronged by that institution. Now, the people that they poll, you could take that with a grain of salt. Try to get hold of a young person to have them poll anything. These are Brexiteers, MAGA people that they polled in Newsweek magazine. The good thing about the fact that Newsweek is an old magazine, that means that younger people do not read it. Newsweek has turned into a gossip sheet. So only people that would read the Inquirer or would read the Sun are the ones that read those papers. And so they have a very skewed sense of reality when it comes to the Sussexes. So those polls don't bother me. I think there's enough people that knows that Harry is Princess Diana's son. There's enough people that knows that the Sussexes were forced to leave because of that family. They know the racist tendencies and such. So it doesn't bother me that, they have these polls. I don't suppose that so many people would have had to read the book to have a good feeling about the Sussexes. I believe they do just because, Meghan is an American. Meghan is here. And anytime the Sussexes are in a space, there's nothing but love for them. The only thing that counters that is that lone person with the British accent that heckles Meghan. That's the only thing that's different. But in the United States, there are no Americans besides, what's her name, Owens. There's no Americans that are going about bad mouthing her, maybe Megyn Kelly or something like that. But essentially, it just doesn't exist here. And because they keep repeating it over and over and again, doesn't mean that they're going to force bad feelings upon the Sussexes here in the United States. It's just not going to happen. The Sussexes are secure enough in their situation that they can lay low for a month, 2 months, 3 months in some cases, and they don't worry about who's going to like them or not like them. They're good here. They're good. Um, the Stephen Colbert show and the ratings, some of the highest that he's had in years, is a demonstration of Harry's popularity. They're not going to take that away. And whether people watch the South Park or any other show, I don't think that they can dim that light. I don't believe it's possible. What they do over in Britain is one thing, but how they are received here in the U.S. Is a whole nother thing. They don't know the U.S. They really don't. They think they do, but they don't. But they're gaslighting and such. Where the Sussex is concerned, it just doesn't work here. They tried to convince us that the Earth flop was going to be something like a Super Bowl where the environment was concerned. It was going to be this huge event, and it just wasn't. It wasn't. It in no way competes with the Invictus Games. None of that. The local news in Indianapolis, as far as I know, when Meghan was in Indianapolis, they didn't bring up anything about the royal family and or Scamantha. They didn't bring up any of that stuff. They were excited that Meghan Markle was coming to town, and that was it. They tried to turn the people of Uvalde, Texas against her. That didn't work either. She's home. And as far as I'm concerned, as far as a lot of people are concerned, Harry is home too. And home is home. Home is where people know you. And with the old people, we all remember Diana. With the young people, we all know what colonization, blood diamonds, empire. We know how that plays a role in how Meghan is being treated. So none of that stuff matters. I hope they all read the book, but I don't think it's that important when it comes to the Sussexes' popularity and this idea that they are on the outs with everybody in LA. Oh, man. Let me see. What is Angelina Jolie's father's name? What is his name? He's like a big right winger. He would probably be one of the handful of people in Hollywood that would act funny. Oh yeah, Franco, the Frankenstein monster. Let us not forget Franco. Thank you, Childa CC. Yeah, 330 plus million people in the United States. Thank you, Rosalind Gaywood. Of course, there will be some bad apples. Kelly Owens, Franco are wetting themselves for her mere presence and how he breathes. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I just don't worry about that with the United States. I really don't. The tabloid reporters and the few weirdos that they have running about in the U.S., they're the royal family's connection to the morning shows here in the U.S., none of those things are going to move the dial when it comes to the Sussexes. Their future, their prosperity is very secure. Of that, I do not doubt that their prosperity, their security, all of that is enhanced by the fact that they're home. This is their home now. And we are a country of people that love an underdog. When it came to the global stage, when it came to the old British Empire, we were the underdog. We were the ones who bet against empire and won. So it is ridiculous to assume that a nation like that is going to turn against a couple of people that are not in public office. They're not setting policy. I know the British tabloids want us to believe that they set policy, but they don't. Not yet. But of course, when it came to a few issues that Meghan felt strongly about, she definitely had a very big influence when it came to the Marshall Plan for women. She's been a big influence for that. Oh yeah, John Voight. Thank you, Black Queen. I can't stand John Voight. And thank you too, C Mac. Um, well, you know what? He's exactly the role that he played in Midnight Cowboy. He was one in Midnight Cowboy, and he's still one today. And if you don't get that reference, you just have to see the movie. But yeah, so I just don't worry. The Sussexes are thriving. They are on track to be a billionaire. What's that guy, Willie, whatever his name is? They are on track to be billionaires. I am going to support them unreservedly. I am going to support them, and it's going to happen. They are going to do good things in this world, and that's that. It's a done deal. But you know what? I think that they should be concerned about the Countess of Wessex. You probably don't know this, but for the past 4 days, Prince Edward and Sophie, the Countess of Wessex, have been on an action-packed royal tour. Wow, Omid is so generous. An action-packed world tour of the Cayman Islands, the Turks and Caicos, the tropical locale and busy itinerary should have provided royal reporting gold, especially after the couple have been hailed by the British media as the family's secret weapon and central figures for the future of the monarchy. But despite the hype, no one, including said press, appears to be watching at the time of this writing. I can only find a tiny handful, around 8 articles about their visit online. 2 of them belong to the Cayman Compass and the Cayman News Service. Instead, the media outlets have kept the focus on a couple they repeatedly call irrelevant, Harry and Meghan. Now, that being said, this is the proof. This is the proof that you don't need a royal family. There is the First Lady of the land, Jill Biden. Jill Biden, Dr. Jill Biden, should I say? Let me correct myself. Dr. Jill Biden is visiting Africa. She's in, don't help me, Namibia. Huh? Did I get it? Namibia? And some other place. I worked so hard on saying Namibia that I forgot the other place. But I got it, you guys. I got it. I got it. I was struggling yesterday, but I got it today. But yeah, and so there she is with the aunties, and then all the rest of the kin folks have come out. Well, they are excited. The children, they all ran forward because the First Lady had a treat for them. She gave them some presidential M&Ms. Yes, go Jill. Handle your business, Jill. She gave them some presidential M&M candies. So everybody loves candy. Who doesn't like M&Ms? So good time to be had by all. And also, I want you guys to please take note of the fact that you can go and do a tour of another country. You can bask in the glory of another culture and not wear something pitiful and ugly like the Countess of Wessex. You see that? Jill has on something that is very attractive, very trendy. Instead of wearing one of those hideous costumes that, okay, now the one on the left, the one that she wore on this trip, I have to say, not bad. It's better than her usual frumpy outfits that she wears when she's going out and about and she's trying to set the fashion world ablaze with some of her more curious looks. But instead, you can actually do like a very modern woman like Jill Biden, Dr. Jill Biden, who decided to wear something casual yet smart, very chic. So go, Jill. Also, you can see here, there is the presidential M&M box. So Jill Biden is doing a tour. She's actually, I think she's spending some time, or is this tour really sponsored by the what is that John F. Kennedy created? The Peace Corps. She's with the Peace Corps people. So there you go. There you go. How sweet. I'm enjoying the photos. And just think, she's not a mumbling Duchess or Princess of Wales or anything like that. And people are still excited to meet her. She's not going to leave in debt. I'm sure of that. She's not going to owe $335 billion. Now, you guys, don't forget, this is Black History Month, right? And so much as this is going to shock you, Princess Anne was unable to fulfill part of her duties, and in this case, a funeral of a friend. So Princess Anne found someone who works for the royal household to help out, right? Someone who's practically family, someone who is the godmother to Prince William. So, and in celebration of Black History Month, Princess Anne is usually busy around this time of year, looking back into her roots. And so she can't be everywhere. So she had, yes, right, she's back, Susan Hussey. Susan Hussey is back. The very profile of George Washington, Susan Hussey is back. Now, I tell you, Susan Hussey has more lives than a black cat. She has more lives than a slasher movie. As a matter of fact, I compare her rise back into the fold of royal duty and service. I compare her return to that of the Terminator. Are you Sarah Connors? Are you Sarah Connors? Are you Sarah Connors? That's what it reminds me of. It's just like the movie Terminator. It's amazing how she manages to come back. It's like we're on the third sequel or whatever, and suddenly Susan Hussey has risen again, just like the Terminator. Are you Nagazi Finale? Well, when you think about it, if you could, I'm pretty sure that for Filani sitting there across from Susan Hussey, it had to feel a lot like being in a Terminator movie. It really did. I mean, you know not to make a fast move. So I am going to compare Susan Hussey to the Terminator because she has managed to return from doom again and again. So don't hate the hustle. That's all I can say is don't hate the hustle. Are you Sarah Connors? Oh, man. So Lady Susan Hussey is back performing official duties on behalf of Princess Anne just 3 months after being forced out of palace life when she was engulfed in a race row for asking Black domestic abuse campaigner, that is, where she was really from, right? Where are you really from? No. Where are you really from? Are you Sarah Connors? Where are you really from? So, where are you really from? Oh man, I know I got too much time on my hand. All right. So anyway, here's some good news for you guys. The countdown begins. We are officially 2 years away from the 2020. What is it? 2024? Wait. 2025. Invictus Games coming to Whistler and Vancouver. It has I'm sorry. It was great to. Wait a minute. Great to see. I think it was to see. Yes, it was great to see how excited everyone is for the games. And this guy is member of parliament for Cardigan and Canada's Minister of Veteran Affairs. Yeah, so, or as they say in Quebec, Député de Cardigan et Ministre des Anciens Combattants du Canada. Right? We. So yeah, that's what he is. He's a deputy of something else. All right, so that is taking place. The excitement and momentum for the Invictus Games is moving, whether or not the British tabloid media approve of it. They are still progressing and moving. Queen Camilla radiates beauty in 33,000-pound brooch in first appearance since the Big C. Queen Camilla, not Queen Consort, but Queen Camilla made her first public appearance today since suffering from the pandemic. The Queen Consort stepped out in Clarence House wearing a beautiful brooch. Shouldn't it be stepped out of Clarence House? Stepped out in Clarence House. No, I guess she was inside Clarence House. That's right. She stepped out in Clarence House wearing a beautiful brooch. Now, there's a little problem with this. Who said Queen Camilla radiates beauty? She radiates beauty? I'm not saying nothing else. I'm just saying she radiates beauty. You just don't hear that term used a lot for the Queen Consort. I'm not saying that it's untrue. I'm just saying I'm surprised. Someone thinking it and then putting it into print is Joy Amore. Thank you so much for that super sticker. And thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Happy Thursday to you. But yes, someone actually said Queen Camilla radiates beauty. I guess I'm going to have to see the brooch because my imagination is running wild at this point. Lydia Washington said, Baron, are you aware Karma may have visited Lorraine Kelly as well? The pandemic left Camilla and fell. Oh, okay. Okay. I thought maybe she was upset about the rest of Maya's ear. But yeah, and you know what? It's been long overdue. Not that I'm wishing anything bad on some antagonistic person who seems to have a really bad bang job. But yeah. So, and if you guys don't understand, here it is. Lorraine Kelly drops out of ITV's show at last minute after falling ill with hideous bug. At that time, it was finally revealed that Lorraine has often wondered whatever happened to Russell Myers' other ear. Some people have assumed that Russell Myers only has one ear, but the wee bit of lass seems to appear to have more than one ear because, well, anyway, we got proof right here. Either he's using duct tape or he actually has that. Maybe he just has the hole. But anyway, so that is what happened. Lorraine Kelly is out with the bug. And Lydia Washington is asking the question, could it or is it possible that karma, as it has swept through the Fleet Street and television studios of the UK, has finally gone up north to find Lorraine Kelly? It already took Russell Myers' other ear. Woo! it's already taken Russell Myers' other ear. So anything's possible. So, as I was saying, some person with a very vivid imagination, or someone who is trying to get a promotion, or someone who wants to be invited to the Christmas party, seems to have written some very glowing words about the newly minted Queen Consort. Let me see. Come on now, Baron. Those Kentucky horses look great with flowers. They smile so wide and happy. It is their moment. She is best in show. That's right. They're going to put that big horseshoe shaped flower display around her neck. Oh, man. And when they do put that wreath of flowers around her neck, if she turns her head and start munching on them, then I'll know something. Oh, man. Why do I always think Clydesdale? I always think Budweiser, because for some reason, I always start thinking about those Clydesdales. Oh, sorry, wrong one. There we go. I always start thinking about those Clydesdale stomping through the snow with the little bell-bottom fringe of fur around their hooves. That's what comes to mind, are the Clydesdales of the Budweiser commercial. Okay, so let me see here. Thank you so much, Legs, for that super chat. And thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Okay, and then from there, we can see here. Now, this is the brooch, and that is Camilla radiating beauty. Yes, Queen Camilla radiates beauty with a 33,000-pound brooch. And of course, one of the squatties made a comment. If you look at the top there, it says, Christ, give it a rest. I didn't want to do it without the comment, but to protect their privacy, I covered up the name, but it says, give it a rest. But you know what? This is not the first time that that's happened. Do you guys remember this? Duchess Camilla wows in waist-cinching dress and over-knee boots for new appearance. The Queen Consort at one time was the Duchess of Cornwall, and she wowed the crowd. I mean, how many people in the crowd said wow because she was wearing something cinching her waist? Or were they saying wow because she had the nerves to put some boots on? And if you ask me, probably thigh-high boots. I don't ever want to picture Camilla wearing thigh-high boots. But I'm wondering if that's what she's galloping around in. And then look at that other photo where she's got a hand on the flower bucket there, the water thing. She's like putting a hand on it and looking at the camera like, hey. I mean, she is really mugging the camera. She is really mugging the camera. The nerves. Did Camilla and Charles just replace Meghan and Harry? Well, as of November 1st, 2021, that's what they wanted us to believe, that Camilla and Charles replaced Harry and Meghan. Or how about this? Move over, Kate. Camilla is the new queen of the high street. You know, when I look at that, when I see high street, I'm always thinking it says something else. I don't know why is that, but it's high street, not something else. Camilla is the queen of the high street. See what I made? My mind always goes another place. How Duchess of Cornwall is putting on the style and outshining even her most glamorous relative, writes Jeannie Bond. Well, her most glamorous relative, whether or not we want to admit it, but we all know who her most glamorous relative is. This is the most glamorous. The other one is very pale by comparison. But yeah, so Camilla cinching the waist in, or what they're calling a cinched waist, is supposed to give her that what is it, the A frame? She's supposed to look like an A frame or something like that. Whatever. Okay, and then here, see, it's all running together. Pretty soon we won't be able to tell one from the other. So you can see with Camilla sitting there with what appears to be an Amish woman or Mennonite or Quaker or something. And then, of course, not to be outdone, Kate decided she wanted to dress like, one of those women that I always see down by the train station. And then, of course, Kate also channels Jessica Tandy, or whoever that woman is, with some of her get-ups. See what I mean? One is just as dull as the other. So this idea that Camilla is taking the mantle away from Kate, Kate doesn't have one to give. And of course, that leads me back to this. Duchess of Drab is the mystery of the cosmos. How does a beautiful woman make designer outfits look so frumpy? Ask Kate. This is the worst. Oh, I think I see Camilla's boots back there. You guys see it? I think I see Camilla's boots. Look all the way in the back there. You see it? I wonder if those are the boots that Camilla are wearing. God, I hope not. I don't want to picture her wearing riding boots like that. But yeah, so it's not a very high bar. To outdress anybody in that family, one does not have to reach a high bar. The only one that ever really made the fashion world go gaga, of course, was actually two people, Princess Diana, and then, of course, Princess Meghan. Kate tops looks for 2022. Let us not forget that all of that stuff we saw last year was supposed to be impressive. Whether she was wearing a dress that she shared with Carol, or whether she was dressed for a funeral, or whether she wore that Wickstead coat dress, or whether she decided to flex her muscles by wearing, oh, I forgot who the designer is. And then, of course, back to the Quakers. So that is what is passing for impressive, is a crooked smile and hair extensions and a wacky eyebrow. That is what passed the bar for fashionable, beautiful, and impressive. Okay, good news. 6 weeks and climbing, 6 weeks, 6 weeks and maintaining the number one position. The New York Times bestsellers list. Yes, you guys, it has been another week has gone by. So for ending March 5th, 2023, the New York Times bestseller list includes Spare, combined print and ebook nonfiction, and hardcover nonfiction. Spare is still reigning supreme. Congratulations, Prince Harry. And here's a nice throwback for you guys. If you take a look there, you might notice, let's go from left to right, Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., Ozzie Davis, Cicely Tyson, and the president of South Africa. I don't know if he's a time traveler or not, but what's his name? Maposa, Menoposa? I don't know if he's a time traveler, but when he's not accepting bags of cash from some pretty shady characters or the newly crowned king, he's actually, that's allegedly, of course, he's actually traveling time and space, and somehow he's made it all the way back to take a photo with Sinatra, Davis Jr. and Ozzie Davis and Cicely Tyson. So It's remarkable to see the president of South Africa transcend time and space. Oh, yeah. A time machine I bought with that cash. Oh, man. Okay. Leg says, if a chicken and a horse get together, is it a live birth or is it a, or is it a hatched? Just want to see what came first, the chicken or the horse egg. Oh man, I'm more interested in seeing, well, especially since they are just emerging from their what mystery illness. I want to see if that chicken horse can cross the road. Why did the consort cross the road? I don't know why. To see if the queen's jewels are on the other side. Oh boy, that's bad. I got to stop. But thank you so much, Legs, and thank you for watching and the super chats. All right. And this, of course, is Angela Davis. Now, some of the people on the right wing have been protesting, well, not really protesting, but they have been speaking out against the idea of reparations. They have paid reparations to the Japanese. There has been some form of reparations, but of course, never enough, but some form, I'm sorry, Japanese Americans. There have been some form of reparations for some of the families from the Holocaust because they lost so much of their wealth and treasure. And unfortunately, millions of people lost their lives. So there has been some form of reparation and atonement for that. But for Black people, there doesn't seem to be any reparation. For the ancestors of the slaves, no reparations forthwith. We're on our own. You don't get no reparations for your ancestors having been trafficked into slavery. No reparations. However, one of the proponents for reparations has found out that she was actually a descendant of one of the Mayflower families. One of her ancestors came over on the Mayflower. One of her ancestors landed on Plymouth Rock. And so, for that reason, some of the right wingers are saying that she owes reparations. You heard me, because Dr. Gates of the Ancestry Show has revealed that she has a common ancestor that came over on the Mayflower. That if you've ever seen Angela Davis, you know that her complexion is very light. And so for that reason, they want us to believe that Angela Davis owes reparations because it was revealed that Davis is a descendant of William Brewster, who traveled to the U.S. on board the Mayflower with his wife, Mary Wentworth Brewster, in 1620. So that is a shocking revelation, but it's one of those semantical, ridiculous arguments that someone like Candace Owens or Megyn Kelly, someone like that will actually use that as an argument that the professor, Angela Davis, actually owes reparations. Like, let me see here. Right here it says, this is vividly illustrated the absurdity of reparations as a concept, among other things. Well, that was a tweet that was shared by someone against the idea of reparations. Someone else, in response to this story about Angela Davis, says, man, I'm glad they found this now. If this had been a few years into the future, she'd be having to hand her reparation check back. Well, we haven't got any reparations yet, so there's no check to hand back. Let me see. Wow, Angela Davis' mother. Her mother looks just like her. Wow. But yeah, I'm looking at a picture. I wonder if that's her brother, but it's someone with red hair in the family. Looks like her mother had red hair. But yeah, so it's a thing. I believe Dr. Gates when he says that that was in her ancestry, but you know, guys, you could almost hear the semantical argument playing out before it gets started. Sharing a tweet about the show, conservative pundit Matt Walsh wrote, "It gets better." She's also descendant from a slave owner. On her father's side is a pilgrim. On her mother's side is a slave owner who looks like Angela Davis owes some reparations. So yeah, that's the argument. That is the argument. Clarita Forbes, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you so much for being a member and watching Royal Sussex. So, anyway, much to do about nothing. Angela Davis is not paying anybody reparations. If anything, Angela Davis and quite a few other people, including myself, deserve a reparation check. I'm all for it. If you can pay off everybody else, I want my 40 acres and a mule, and I'll take some reparation money too. But yeah, so there's Angela Davis, one of my favorite photos of her with Toni Morrison. And I believe that is Angela Davis in the courtroom. There's a great movie, you guys, and it is called Black Power Mixtape. Am I getting that right? But it was a movie which is about the civil rights movement as it was recorded by, I think it was a Swedish television station from 68 to 72. Let me see. I'm going to look it up. But anyway, they came to the U.S. to cover the civil rights movement. Black Power Mixtape. Black Power. Okay, mixtape. And okay, if you I was hoping it was free on oh, wait a minute. Wait, they do have it free. Is it? Yeah, I think you could watch it for free on YouTube. So I am going to put the link for it.
Där finns emellertid över 20% av stans invånare.
Oh no, I'm sorry. It looks like it's in Spanish.
In 1968.
No, it's not. It's not in Spanish. Okay, so I'm going to put the link in the community tab. It's called Black Power Mixtape. And you'll see this photo of Angela Davis. This one. There's a illustration of it there. You'll see that, and you know you got the right one. So I'm going to say this is it. And if you want to discuss it tomorrow, we can. But if you haven't seen it yet, it is a documentary. One of the producers was Mr. Danny Glover. Danny Glover was one of the producers. And the premise is, for 3 decades, it says right here, for 3 decades, the film canisters sat undisturbed in a cellar beneath the Swedish National Broadcasting Company. Inside was roll after roll of startlingly fresh and candid 16 millimeter footage shot in 1960s and 70s in the U.S. It was from the United States. All of it focused on the anti-war and Black Power movement, When filmmakers Goran Hugo Olsen discovered the footage, he decided that he had a responsibility to shepherd this glimpse of history into the world. And without audio interviews, I'm sorry, what am I saying? With audio interviews from the leading African American artists, activists, musicians, and scholars, the Black Power mixtape 1967 to 1975 looks at the people, society, culture, and style that fueled an era of convulsive change, utilizing an innovative format that riffs on the popular 1970s mixtape format. Mixtape is a cinematic and musical journey into the Black communities of America. So, if you guys please make sure you watch that. It is Black History Month, and this is Black history. This footage could have been lost to the ages if they would not have realized that they were sitting on top of a gold mine. You hear me? So watch it. It is very good. It is, I actually went to the theater to watch it. It was released at the movies years ago, and I went there to see it because I knew it was something special. And it is. So it's about an hour and a half long, and there is all kind of footage of people that you will recognize, and you won't believe that the same arguments, the same issues, the same troubles that they were focused on between 1967 and 1975 persists today. Okay? So I can't stress this enough. Make sure you watch that. Take the time and watch it. You will be dazzled. You will be bedazzled by some of the information that they share. Okay? Thank you so much. And let me see. Yeah, so that's it, you guys. I think I am done. Yeah, that was it. I am so done. So again, it is in the community tab, Black Power Mixtape. What? Whoopi Goldberg said on The View she got her reparation, and Sonny asked her, how did she get her? This was last week? Really? Okay. All right, Whoopi. All right, then. Tell me where I sign up for mine. All right, you guys. So that should do it. I didn't mean to stay on this long. I thought I'd be out of here by now. But I'm trying to shorten these visits because we have been pushing that 3-hour mark day after day, and it could be a bit overwhelming for some people that like a different kind of format. But anyway, it's time well spent, and I really do appreciate you guys being here. So thank you so much to the moderators for keeping this a safe space. And Sherry Ware, wherever you are, we are thinking about you. I always think about you at this time. Also, thank you for the gifts I received on the Royal Sussex wish list. And please, you guys, make sure you go over to Petals, over to Facts and 2 Cents, and give a like, a share, and most importantly, do subscribe to Facts and 2 Cents. It is also time well spent. Petal can prosecute a case like none other. Let me see. Yeah, she can prosecute a case like nobody else. So, all right, that is it. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Last word of the day is, okay, there it is. Good night, everyone. Have a blessed evening. Thank you so much, Mackenzie. Thank you for the last word. And with that, I am going to give thanks to our faves, as always, our queen of everything and our queen of hearts, the rightful queen of England, the one who should really be there, but that would mean she would be stuck with that person, but at least she would be here spreading love and reminding the royal family that people need to be looked after. If you have a platform like that, you really ought to, embrace people. That's the lesson that Diana taught us. Okay, you guys, thank you so much. I am going to cue the Ginger Avenger, and I will see you all next time. All right. Connie Balmer, I have to say you have taken my breath away today, but thank you so much for that, and thank you for always being so supportive. And thank all of you all for being so supportive. It's oh man, I have to tell you guys, April the 21st will be the second anniversary of Royal Sussex actually really taking off. Before that, the name of this channel was called Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess. No, I'm sorry, what's it? It was Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Success. That is what I had named the channel ages ago. It was a mouthful, and I was like, I need to shorten that. And so I said, well, I can't call it Sussex Royal, can I? Nah. What about Royal Sussex? And so I looked, I'm like, surely somebody else is using Royal Sussex. Well, truth is, nobody else was using Royal Sussex, just me. And so I took it. And and it's been amazing ever since. And I'm so glad for this community. I'm so glad that we all have some place to commune together, to speak out on our frustrations, and the fact that for the most part we've always been so respectful to one another. And it's been quite the experience. So I don't know what I'm going to do for April the 15th, but I'll do something. But April the 15th, and by May, like 2 or 3 weeks later, Royal Sussex was monetized, and none of this would be possible if not for this community. If you go through the hate channels, or if you go through the Sussex friendly channels, you're going to see one common thing in all of those channels. The greatest success that they have as a platform are the days when they talk about the most influential couple in the world. The numbers tell the truth. The numbers say it all. And so you don't have to be evil. You don't have to be hateful to make a success of your channel. I think the people that do that because that's what's in their heart. is hate and hostility. If one thing any of these Sussex friendly channels can prove is that you can have a successful channel, you can grow within a community, you can grow your platform, and you don't have to try to carry the water for the tabloid media. You don't have to strike out on behalf of a very well-fed and very wealthy royal family. You don't have to do any of that stuff. But it's what they choose to do. The body language expert, actually, there's a couple of them, but the worst of them, the only thing that he has is Harry and Meghan. Tens of thousands of views because he just sits there and make up things. When he did a review about Archetypes, I said to myself, is he really doing body language of a podcast that doesn't even have video footage? He did. He did. Got a lot of views. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can help Harry and Meghan on their mission. And by doing that, you can help World Central Kitchen. You could help so many worthy causes. And you don't have to go to the dark side to do it. You don't have to go to the dark side. You could stay in the light and be just as successful. Larry King, dull as dishwater, but Larry King gave a platform. He didn't challenge people. He just gave them a chance to let their personality shine. And he was very successful. And when that show finally fell off of a cliff, it was because some hoghead took over that time slot, took over a proven winner of a show. And what happened? It went down in flames. So it's a short-lived success, hate. It's an uncertain future to hate. There's no consistency for the haters. It ebbs and flows. It has its ups and downs. But supporting the Sussexes is a winning proposition time and time again. If anybody can give proof of that, I can. And there's several successful platforms that are Sussex friendly on the YouTube that can say the same. Kathy A., thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you for being a member and for watching Royal Sussex. And I tell you what, guys, if I don't put this humidifier on today, I am going to sound just like Bonnie Raitt by tomorrow. So I'm going to go so I can turn on this humidifier. I keep forgetting to do that, and you can see where that's taking me. George, the Willises will be here any minute. George. See, Isabel Sanford all day long. George. Oh, hi, Helen. Florence. Oh, man. Okay. Good night, Misty Blue. Thank you so much for being here. All right. Good night, you guys. Thank you so much. Enjoy. Oh, you guys are probably either eating dinner or well, some of y'all on the West Coast are making dinner. But yeah, enjoy your dinner. And good morning to people in the Eastern Hemisphere. All right, you guys. Good night. Thank you. Love you guys. See you next time.